Okay, let's start today with what I think is one of the most heartbreaking openings in all of piano.
In all of piano?
In all of the piano. Johannes Brahms, very late in life, wrote these sets of pieces. We already played Opus 118, a little bit of that, but Opus 119 opens like this.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah. Yeah, it's such an unusual way to open a piece. It's like just so private.
Was this dedicated to somebody, this piece? Do we have any kind of...
I don't know if it was explicitly dedicated to anyone, but he all of these pieces he sent drafts to Clara Schumann, Robert, who's now dead. I mean, while Brahms is writing this,
dead.
He's dead. He actually died. I didn't tell you. He died.
Robert
a few
Schumann
years
is
ago.
dead.
I'm sorry to tell you, he's not going to make it to our podcast as a
Damn.
guest. But Brahms would send, Clara was like a mentor to him. So she was an amazing, great pianist and championed Brahms's works, like played through them, gave him feedback on them too, like pretty honest feedback. And this was one of these pieces that he, I think with pleasure, wrote to her about because he wanted to, I think he took some pride or pleasure in explaining how painful this music is, and how loving and painful at the same time. It's very romantic era stuff.
Because he had a lot of unrequited love for Clara Schumann.
Yes.
So when you love someone so much and you write something that has to do with maybe not that person, but just like the pain you feel from all the love, it's kind of also exhilarating to show that to a person that you really love. And
yeah, I mean, whether or not that love at this point in his life was romantic, or I think it supersedes all that. I mean, this is a lifelong sort of friendship that they have, but still it's like it's a very intimate thing to discuss the very inner workings of how you process pain and longing, right? That's you're inviting someone into like your most intimate space, and the music itself does that. And I think, I mean, I'll just read what he wrote to her.
What Brahms wrote to Clara about this piece that you just played a part of.
Yes, thank you for setting that up very beautifully. He said to her, "This little piece is exceptionally melancholic and is to be played very slowly, and that's not an understatement. Every bar and every note must sound like a ritardando, which means to be played slowly or slowing down, as if one wanted to suck melancholy out of each and every one, lustily and with pleasure out of these very dissonances."
So he really like almost took pleasure in his sadness and melancholy.
Yeah, I mean,
in a sort of perverse way, which I can understand that. Yeah. I don't think I've indulged that deeply.
Are you a child of the Romantic era, do you think?
What do you mean?
Like, I mean, I do. There is this connection between deep sorrow and love.
Yeah.
That they explore to the absolute fullest, like the sorrows of young Werther, that Goethe text. That where he ends up committing suicide or whatever. I haven't read it in so long, but
what I find interesting about what he wrote to Clara, though, is he isn't Brahms known for less committal tempo markings like allegro ma non troppo?
Yeah.
So the fact that this is just adagio and he wrote it should be played very slowly that seems significant for him. If I'm remembering correctly, his tendency.
So in other words, instead of saying adagio, but not too slow.
Right, adagio ma non troppo.
Or like, hey, let's not overdo things. Let's keep it in this kind of middle ground space. He is kind of always in a state of searching in so much of his music when he's not like bombastically like second piano concerto, just da 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 da. Here's the music, but he does like living in that more liminal space. But you're right. Here, he's just like, I know what I want. Adagio. I want it to be slow. And
I want it to hurt.
And I want it to hurt. And the part of the hurt is these hairpins. So he writes these little designations for decrescendoing every bar, except, first of all, it's actually over the first 3 notes in the score. So that means like get less with each note. So instead of, that would be like, okay, we're just no phrasing, no hairpin, just let's just play the notes as they are. In fact, let me just play it once that way, where it's just, I'm not overdoing the expression, the pain, the longing, but I'm just playing what's on the page, without doing much. Okay, the pianists out there are probably cringing, but that's literally what's written in terms of tempo change. He's not saying poco ritardando. He's not saying slow down. He's not telling you to take time anywhere. But in this letter, he does.
Right.
In this letter, he's saying, you better milk this stuff, because this is pain. And I think first of all, you're supposed to feel that just in the dissonances, just in the harmonies themselves. And it can be hard for us because we don't live in that time. Like, I made a short little video. One of the first Instagram videos I made was on this opening. And one of the first things I say is like, well, it's kind of jazz chords in a way. Right. That's the perspective that we could come from on the opposite end, which is like, all right, this is a minor ninth if you stack them all together in the first measure. And this is another just chord with extensions, 9, 11, and then... to our ears, that when you play it like that, it's just beautiful. It's lush. It's like Debussy, and then but he wasn't hearing it like that with these open extensions where there's not a kind of chromatic leading.
Right. It's not. I mean, because it's similar to the Bach first prelude, right? That's the broken chords.
But you mean in the sense that these are arpeggiated chords,
right?
Sort of.
But this piece, for some reason, it really feels like the melody does come first, or the melody that these broken chords creates is more significant, whereas with the Bach, you're almost wanting to show the chords through the brokenness.
Yeah, right. Those are the chords. I think there's so many reasons for that. One is, in the Brahms, there is... if you look at even just the way he stems the notes, in other words, he's implying, like, there's a melody here, there's a melody here, there's a melody here. There's one on top. So... and the fact that this is suspended through, those other notes feel like, they just feel like almost like the ripples of that first note. They feel like you threw a big rock into the pond here, and then now those are the ripples that are the effect of that first note. And then we get to sing a little more. And these notes that are adding the extension, those would have been more painful, more dissonant, more unusual during that time than for us. I mean, we're playing all kinds of music now that has these open, extended harmonies. But back then, this is why I think it's really helpful when you're learning this music to exaggerate what's happening. So if I were teaching this piece, I would probably get the student to play more than what's written. So that it feels like, like you're deeper down than he even writes, so that when you return to just what's written,
Right. That's a great way to teach it, because you're giving them a sense of what's not there, but what's kind of implied.
what's important, what's
Yeah.
essential is not, oh, he ends on this E or something. I mean, what's essential is just this feeling of falling. So how do we
Right. It almost could have ended on a
exaggerate?
different note.
It could have.
So it makes the actual note it's ending on less important, and yeah.
It makes what he's written less precious too. Like, as in, like, it always had to be these precise notes. No, I mean, a different composer having the same thought, especially a few years later, might write something like that, and it's just that painful, depressed feeling of like reaching out and then being denied, or being in a sort of state of pain and longing and reflection that in the Romantic period is a wonderful, beautiful, essential kind of rumination. It's just, how do we access that same expression now, not having the context of Brahms's chromaticism?
What do you mean? Because so much more has been done in more modern music that it's less like this would have stood out as kind of more modern sounding in the time.
Yeah.
Obviously, because it was modern in the time, but you know what I mean?
No, in the same way that Tristan and Isolde at the time, like, just absolutely made a huge splash, or Stravinsky's Rite of Spring, how that shocked audiences to no end.
This is an interesting thought of like, because we play all these pieces years, decades, centuries sometimes after their after their
yeah, Bach was a few centuries ago.
Okay, cool. After they're premiered, and
Bach was born in Brooklyn in 1942. He made it all the way here from Germany. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay. So obviously we still get a lot from these pieces, but we'll never get the context that they were originally meant for. And so what
we won't.
do we take with us that's still so meaningful when we're missing so much of the context?
Yeah.
And you could say that for any work of art. You can say that for an old movie that we still enjoy, or a painting. We still go to museums and we're absolutely, such things are breathtaking, but we've all seen tons of paintings that are that style, or,
And now, obviously, with our phones, we can see literally any image we want that's ever been created instantly. So,
right, or make one out of from our minds with AI.
Right. So right, even things that we just have, all we need to do is imagine, right? And so, what is happening to experience for us right now? Like, what is valuable still about, or is newness what's important, or is it just, I think the more we can find a personal connection with something, the richer the experience is. So for the music, I mean, I'm all about trying to get at what is the underlying essential emotional spirit of the music that transcends time, basically. that is
Right.
basically like, this is so essential to the music that we could be absolutely moved by it today, and it's the same kind of thing that Brahms was going for, even if
Right.
it's not exactly, and there's going to be a lot of inside stuff from that time and whatever, but we can just do our best to try to get at that expression because it is really powerful.
Yeah, but also the newness might actually have done it a disservice because I don't think humans generally want new. They like familiar. Even when like Taylor Swift makes a new album, like I do think it's because she's still so familiar. So it's new, but it's no, it's there's a sound to her voice, and even if she reinvents her, like we say we want new and reinvented, but and I think in a way it's good for us and a part of us wants it, but I think we can look at things that are familiar and warm and like an old movie and still get so much out of it because there's like a familiarity, like a baseline of, you know what I'm saying? I'm going all over the place.
No, you're right. I think, Brahms is working with tradition. So
Right.
I think the reason this is powerful then is because of the chromaticism, the way that composers had treated harmony up to that point. So you did have to have some kind of reference point, and maybe that's sort of our job as musicians today, is to be like, hey, let's build back a little bit of that reference point so that you can be moved again
Right.
by something like this, instead of just thinking, okay, I mean, that's just, yeah, I play that all the time. I practice my 2-5-1s. Like,
Right.
so what? That's just like a seventh chord. And it's like, well, okay, but within the context of Brahms and the way this is happening, what if it was just... That's essentially what's going on in the music, and then these are just added. And then you start to feel like, whoa, that thread is getting pulled like a little bit more than I expected.
Right.
That's why I would like to practice with a student, like, okay, what would that feel like to you, someone who's, okay, your harmony's expanded, you know?
Are you accepting students?
Not currently, just I'm trying to
All right,
do this kind
leave
of...
him alone then. He doesn't.
Yeah,
He doesn't
please. I've had to block several people already who've reached out to me incessantly about lessons. No, what I want to experiment with actually is, I don't know when, but soon, probably on my Patreon, like these little lightning lessons where someone can send me like a 5 or 10 minute video they're playing, and I'll send a video back either from the piano or just walking around, but give you my feedback, because I don't know if you experienced this, but for me, within the first 5 minutes of a lesson, frankly, in the first 30 seconds of a lesson, I have a whole lesson in my head. I'm like, okay, I know what this person needs to work on. I can, here's my lesson plan I'm building up. And after that, especially the last half of the lesson, a lot of it is just practicing with the student.
Right.
You know, like, okay, let's sit down and do it. But like, if I don't have that luxury because it's remote anyway, I think people could get a lot out of a really quick, essential reaction to what's happening at the piano. So yeah,
Yes.
I think I do want to bring back teaching into my life, private teaching. I got a little burnt out from that. That's why I stopped and started doing this. But I think that's one way to do it, is these lightning lessons that'll give you direction and guidance. Can I help you? What's up?
Lightning.
Why are you laughing?
How long did it take you to come up with lightning
God.
lessons?
Oh my God. Yeah. I got it. I just like, I woke up one morning and I was like, that's it. Whatever. It could be something else. That's
No, I like lightning lessons. No, it's not lame. No, I also feel
That's
like
bringing me back to teaching.
I think this is why maybe I don't enjoy teaching so much, is that, like you, I identify immediately what the problem. I'm like, okay, I see what this person's problem is, or 10 problems.
It's pretty obvious.
It's really obvious.
It's a little like having chemistry with a person in real life. Like, if you're being honest with yourself, you know pretty quick whether this is someone you're going to get along with or not.
Right. Yes.
If you trust your instincts.
Yeah. So right away, I'm just like, okay, well, they don't, their bow is going all sorts of different directions. Their left hand is way too tight. But then what I find frustrating is I hate like breaking it to like I don't like sugarcoating, but I also don't like being mean. So I'd rather just take myself out of the situation.
Whoa. So you don't want to help them. That's another way of like you're more scared of hurting them than you are willing to help them.
Okay, sure, but I guess I just know that there are like so many
Like in
teachers out there
relationship.
that they don't need my help.
Oh, wait.
In
So
this
it's
context.
couched. There's also a little bit
Like,
of self-deprecation going
Because
on.
look, if I'm in the world and someone's like needs help on the street and I'm the first person there, I'm gonna help them because they need my help in that moment. But with teaching, I'm kind of like, you don't need my help. There's someone who's gonna be better at conveying what these problems are and helping you through it than me. So yeah, a little
It's a little bit-
self-deprecation.
I think there's like a Die Hard 4 quote or something where it's like, you think anybody's going to fix it? We're the ones who got to fix it. Like, you do have to kind of have that mentality, especially at some point where it's like, okay, there's a kid in front of you. They need your help. This is it. Like, there is no next step. Like, you're the person who's going to save the world for this person. So you
Right.
do need to, at some point, that classical music mindset of like, oh, who am I? Oh, I'm nobody, and my opinions are not as valid as this person teaching at a conservatory. That has to go. That has to
Right.
go. And it has to go in teaching. It has to go in entrepreneurship. It has to go in career stuff. It has to, like, we need to work on breaking that mentality down as soon as you get out of school. When you're in school, you should be self-deprecating. You're learning and you're critiquing
Right.
yourself, and you're like, I'm not as good as my teacher. I need to put my whole heart and soul into the teacher's guidance in order to like get the most out of that if you trust them.
Yeah.
But then, dude, you gotta well, I mean,
There's just some people who have a knack for it, and also
maybe there's some of that.
there's just having a lot of experience in the situations. I'm sure if I taught 100 lessons in a row, all this, I would figure out like, okay, these are like the social rules of how to like navigate telling someone they have an issue and how to fix it, and these are things that work and these are the things that don't work. But I think in my head, because so much of what I do socially is like mimicking, I don't feel like I have enough information to like properly mimic like a teacher. I don't know. That's definitely like a not everybody thing, but that's how it feels for me.
You're also just not that passionate about. I think you're so disillusioned with the field, as I
Yeah.
kind of am too, that like it doesn't jazz you up, this idea of, okay, go get him, Tiger. Now I'm sending you out into the world of what? Of classical
I
music.
feel bad. I'm like, I
viola?
think your time could be, unless I get a really, really driven, disciplined student, then I'm like, yes, like go for this. But otherwise, I'm like, yeah.
You have too realistic a view and not an
Maybe.
optimistic enough view of the field right now.
Yeah, and it's different with like my other stuff, like comedy advice or writing advice. I'm a lot better at giving that, but maybe it's because I find more joy in it. So I'm like, yes, like I want
Yeah.
you to have the joy here.
What about like adult amateurs or something where it's like they're not going into the field. They're just
Right.
doing it for the pure enjoyment of the music.
I think it's a little better because I'm also not as afraid of like somehow saying something that traumatizes them. Like, I don't want to say something too harsh and where a kid then like carries it for the rest of their life. I'm
Yeah.
so scared.
Okay.
But if it's a fully formed adult who, I'm not going to.
Yeah. Oh, motherhood's going to be awesome for you, dude.
Do you want to play more of the piece?
Okay. And speaking of that, I want to make this richer. So, oh my God, this was a million years ago, but I played the boring version, right? So,
Because you were young and didn't know what you were doing.
no. I just, for you earlier.
I thought you were like, so this
ago.
one time I played it really boring and I was like,
No. I've never actually, oh no, I have performed this or I've recorded this. But I haven't played it a lot. I haven't really performed a lot of these late Brahms pieces. I think partly because when you're learning them, you're a little intimidated. It's like the last things he wrote besides the clarinet sonatas or whatever. And this is Brahms returning to piano music later in life. He started Opus 1 with his sonata. He started at the piano. He's a pianist. But now when he's returning to the instrument for these intimate pieces, it's like his whole style is all assimilated. He has the counterpoint that he's always been so fascinated with Baroque composers and Renaissance composers. He also has, he's not young anymore, so he's not just being recklessly emotional. These things are distilled in a way that he's not wasting any space or time. He's just getting right to the interesting, deep emotional stuff and delivering it in this short form way that's just very potent.
This piece is so efficient.
Very efficient.
For how expressive and like evocative of pain and he wants everything to be milked. It is also incredibly like almost like minimal in a way.
Yeah, let's get into it a little bit. So once I add these little hairpins, which indicate decrescendo, I'm also going to use those to do what he says in the letter, retardando. So slow down, not just get softer, to evoke a little more of that pain in each measure. Listen to how the harmony changes. There at the end, he actually writes a writ to get slower at the very end of that first phrase. Now, I might be overdoing it a little bit. But I love when this return, instead of this, he writes, it's just extra painful there.
But also, again, so efficient. It's just one note making it different.
Yeah, just raising that half step. Wild. I mean, he does indicate which notes are supposed to be held over, so he's thinking harmonically of... So it's not all these notes, actually. No, it is all those notes. Oh, no, there's no B. There's supposed to be no B, so it's not technically... This is not supposed to be held. So each measure, he's indicating what's held and what's not. Which is also interesting to kind of explore. I mean, it's the details.
His intentions are pretty clear with that.
Yeah, they are. So it's like, don't just hold the pedal down.
Right.
Like Debussy, right?
Right.
Because that
then we have Debussy.
It just slightly genericizes the voice leading, which is really where he's coming from. He's not coming from a place of vertical chords and harmony. He's coming from a place of each individual voice is leading somewhere beautiful to create harmony. And then, I was thinking, like, because I've heard certain performances and recordings where it's much faster, and I like that too.
Right. Play a little faster.
Sure. Like, to me, at this tempo that I'm about to play at, helps you feel the phrase more easily, helps you get through the vocal line in a way that's realistically sung, and not just like, oh my God, hurry up. Like, we're just really ruminating on every single measure. that change the way you feel the music when I play it that way?
Well, that still felt pretty slow and expressive. It would be funny if the way you played it before, if Brahms could hear it and was like, whoa, like, I didn't mean that.
Bro,
slow.
I didn't write lento.
Yeah.
I wrote adagio, okay?
Yeah, that just felt like it all flowed, but it was still, you were still really holding back in the tempo.
I feel like it was just moments that I really held.
Yeah.
I kind of like that faster tempo, to be
I
totally
liked that a
honest.
lot better. Well, not a lot better.
Well, it was more natural. It was less
Yeah.
like stunted. It was less like I was just you want to play, no matter what happens, you want to try to play in a way that feels and sounds natural, that feels like it's coming from an organic place and not from a stifled or forced place. So sometimes you gotta exaggerate that too. You gotta be like, well, let me play it super fast. Just to be like, oh yeah, that's the essential line. Now let me go back and add my own emotions to it.
Right.
Students can be scared to do that sometimes because they feel like they're messing with the music. Like, no, do whatever you got to do in the practice room to feel looser.
Right.
Yeah, it's all subjective. I mean, and one night I might play it that way, and another night I might feel like, no, I want to linger on every single note. Can you taste this chromaticism, this dissonance? Is like, oh my God. Just like in life. I mean, sometimes we want to enjoy things a little bit extra, and sometimes we don't. But don't replicate it the same way every single time. Feel what you're feeling in the moment.
Right.
And have a lot of different ways of performing it so you have options.
Right. I want to hear the B section.
Yeah,
it's
let's keep
pretty
going.
different.
Let's keep going. So after, it's, by the way, oh my God. I mean, there's so much to talk about. This beautiful counterpoint in the left hand.
Oh.
So there's a lot of like counter melodies going on in his music. And then Picardy third. So instead of going to the dominant of the key of B minor, which, by the way, we don't really get a solid B minor. This is the B minor chord, but it's really like E minor 9. So this is kind of one of the first times in this opening where it's like, we get to 5 of B minor. And now we might expect this to be in the next music in the dominant key of F sharp. We might, we might expect that, but instead we get this key. Starting to build. Really quick, there's something very beautiful that happens in this inner voice. So after this eruption, this is the first time it feels like you're releasing something, right?
Right. I mean, it feels like almost the fantasy of what the first part is kind of grieving or dealing with.
Yeah.
Then the fantasy is like what it could be and like what you hope it would be.
Yeah, this is way out there. Or it's way in there.
Well, this feels like dealing with the present pain to me.
And then,
then this is almost like
this is like your
a
fantasy
memory
being
or the future.
realized in your mind, being imagined. Nice. And then listen to the inner voice here. This Okay, now that is held. And And it's even kept here. So then that, I think one of the genius things about Brahms is how he uses the same motives, the same material across different sections, like Beethoven did and Bach did. And that makes the music feel more organic, this word that, we kind of roll our eyes at if we study classical music long enough, because everyone's,
Right.
oh,
And
you
just
got to
more
play it more organic. This music is so organic. And then, it's like, okay, I'm not at the grocery store.
One person used that word once, and everyone was like, "That is a
Oh.
sick word to use."
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Using organic for the rest of my life. But it's I don't know, integral or something, where when the materials have a synergy that are working together to unfold something that feels like it's just at the right place at just the right time with just the right materials. Like
Right.
whatever that means, where form and structure and motive and harmony all meet to create something that makes you forget about the analysis. It makes you feel like, that feels right.
Mm-hmm.
Beethoven was a master at that. You don't want to, it's hard to even analyze this stuff because it's just like, oh yeah, the materials sometimes are that simple where it's like nothing that special is going on here, but I'm utterly moved. What is happening? It's just every note is at just the right time and just the right place. That's organic writing.
It feels like you're discovering a melody that like the composer must have just discovered this melody that already existed in the universe.
Yeah. And then ironically, they've been working their ass off to get there. I mean, Brahms burned so many drafts and Beethoven was constantly scratching out his writing.
Not Mozart, apparently.
Not Mozart. Sometimes it comes naturally. Let me keep playing so we can get to the end of this piece really quick. So we have this beautiful inner voices. And back to D major. This is a big sigh, it feels so good to be in D major, but it's going to start building again. Okay, that chord. That is, you recognize that chord. It's that chord, the Tristan chord. It's technically a half diminished.
So the Tristan chord is really the Brahms Opus 119 chord.
Well, this came 30 years later, but yeah, that after Wagner.
What?
Yeah. This is like 1890 or something.
Oh.
And Tristan was like maybe the 60s.
1860s?
Yeah.
Damn it. Why did I... See, that's one of those things like...
Well, Brahms just lived a really long time. I think that can be disorienting.
I don't know why that's funny for me. I
Brahms
feel like
lived to 172. So he actually lived through the 1960s.
He was not a happy person, right?
No.
Brahms. And so just for him to live a while, it just seems like this, like almost...
God played a joke on him.
Yeah.
He had to live
Man,
with it.
I feel really stupid now. I didn't know that Tristan... Okay, so it is the Tristan chord. Do you think there was any direct influence?
Well, I just think this half diminished quality of this chord is very... he could have certainly been influenced by that, but it was a chord that he used.
Yeah.
The Tristan chord is special because of how it doesn't resolve to the right place.
Uh-huh.
So that's part of what... It's not like a half diminished chord being a half diminished chord was always kind of there.
Context is everything.
Context is everything, but this sounds like,
Right.
that's a modern chord too.
Uh-huh.
But then from that intense suspension, we get this return. And now we're kind of in the beginning, except with more chromaticism and changing the rhythm. But this is like It's a stretto. I mean, like Bach did that, in his fugues and stuff. It's like, remember all these voices? They're starting to pile on top of each other with more drama. And then instead of a satisfying return, which he could have written, he goes, it ends up being the same chord, but this, remember that A sharp from earlier where he went,
Right.
it's that note. It's that same note. Okay, one final version.
That's really wonky.
Wow. His famous sequences in his codas. He does this in the viola sonata too, the end of the E flat, first movement. So beautiful, these suspensions. Sorry. Full expression of that chord and then resolving to B minor. Finally. Yeah, this it's a fully diminished chord in the right hand and then over a B minor. So it's like you get the self, the B minor, and then all of the pain that inhabits it until finally resolving. And then he wrote to Clara and said, "It's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna like this one.
Well,
A lot of pain in this one."
the third version of the like when it gets really wonky at the end there before the sequence of the coda,
Yeah.
it makes that, it makes when it returns
Makes your spine
to
tingle.
that coda like so like warm and sad and it just makes you appreciate it so much more because you've been in such a weird place
Yeah.
tonally before that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. And you can see, looking in reverse from the end, you learn so much about the beginning from approaching the end. And it's kind of another, just to wrap up, one of the genius things about someone like Brahms is this feels, same with Bach to me, this feels improvised. It feels like he just came to the piano and was like, what happens if I go down a third and another third and another third and another third? Let me just keep going. What is this sound? It's so beautiful. Almost like the Beatles probably like composed some of their songs where it's just like, okay, let's just mess around. How about I do it a step higher? Oh, that's beautiful too. There is an improvisatory nature to this opening. It feels like someone just by themselves coming at the piano in a state of incredible sadness and just wanting this falling sound. And yet, especially if you observe how the piece ends, you're like, it had to be those notes. It had to be that many notes. That is what organic structure really does to a piece. It makes it feel both spontaneous and meant to be that way. And there's no way you can improvise this piece. It's too rich in its counterpoint and complicated, and the way it unfolds in just that many bars and all that helps with this feeling. So, yeah, I mean, it's just, thank God Brahms came back to composing because he retired, I think in Opus 113 or something before he met that clarinetist, Richard Mühlfeld. He heard him play and was blown away. And then he wrote the clarinet trio. Then he wrote these 2 clarinet sonatas. But in the middle of that, we got these. I mean, some of his absolute best writing, especially for the piano.
Well, it's because it kind of comes after he has nothing more to prove. He had retired.
Right.
So if
And
you're
for
writing
someone-
again,
Yeah.
it's purely because you were so inspired.
Yeah. And for someone who had the weight of composing on his shoulders from someone like Robert Schumann, and he was
Right.
supposed to be the next heir of Beethoven, it's finally like, I'm done. I think I achieved everything I wanted to achieve. Now these are just dessert. Like,
Right.
what if we had just Brahms only composing dessert?
Mm-hmm. Well,
Kind of different. Anyway.
that was Brahms Opus 119.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm in such a state of I'm like softened. I feel like I just got a massage
Yeah.
from that piece.
Mm.
I feel very like reflective right now. Anyway,
Well,
let's go reflect over some lunch.
okay. Bye.
Bye everyone.